Okay, the conversion, I was doing conversion yesterday. So I think I'll be uploading also the videos today. Let me record also this one because some say they are not able to attend. Then, of course, the net profit again, that one minus the operating expenses. April 2024, question 20, April 2025, question 24. And then you also fill it in like that. So that one was a simple one. Maybe I can do to 2 decimals by clicking on this comma. Then equity, we do the equity amount. So normally, let me remove. So here in borders, you can put two borders, top and double bottom border, top and on the total assets. Then here you have total liabilities. So of course, we know that total assets minus total liabilities equals to equity. Equity is total assets minus, because total liabilities plus equity must be equal to total assets. So that one is just also straightforward as it appears there. So I'll fill them in like that. You can remove the underlines if you want a different format like that one there. So, okay, you can also, today is always a free class. Maybe you wanted the negatives to be in bracket. If you're clicking on the 1,000 separator, you can see they are not coming. You can see they are not coming. So you can click on this here on the number format, on this small arrow pointing down here. You click on it like that. Then you go to custom. Then you can choose one with bracket and 2 decimal places, like this one here. This one means that the negative number is in bracket and then to 2 decimal places, just like that, so that the negative ones are in bracket. Then you can copy that and paste it to any other place. So I think that the first one was not a problem. It was only 1 mark here. Fill in the appropriate details in the gross profit, net profit, and equity rows. Then B said, undertake the following analysis of trends in key financial statement components. So one, I think we looked at this one when we were looking at functions. Using a correctly referenced index and match nested function. Using a correctly indexed index and match nested function. Fill in the details below in the below data array from the output in A above. Now, what you have to know is that if you bring in the amount manually, you don't get the mark. You only get the mark if you have used an index and match nested function. So a nested function means that match is nested inside index, or yes, match is inside index. So because it's a free class, again, let me come up here. So here equal sign index, that is the first function, index. So normally how index work, index is also a lookup function. So how index work is that we are using the first 3 arguments up here. We have the array, the row number, and the column number. Now, for example, I wanted to get the net profit in 2024 using index. So first, array is your data without the other details. So my data only here. I select it like that. So that is my array. Then comma, row number. I've said I want to get the net profit in 2024. So I count how many rows are there. Rows are always horizontal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the row number, I'll call it 5. You can follow from the formula bar up here. Then the moment I do comma, I go to the column number. Now I count how many columns are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a coincidence, also 5. So that I'm having something like that. If I close my brackets, I hit enter, I'm able to extract. I'm able to extract that value there. So now instead of me coming in and writing 5 and 5, I can use match to link the row number. The match returns the row number. Unfortunately, it doesn't work sometimes alone, but it can now return the row number and the column number. So instead of me using these 5 and 5 here, I'm going to use match to get the row number and the column number. That is why it is called an index and match nested function. So when you are working with this reference, okay, let me do it first. So first, we are going to do it without cell reference. So we are just going to do it free. Then the second time we will repeat it using the correct referencing style so that you only do it once. So we are going to nest match inside index. So equal sign index April 2024, April 2025, question 24. For the one that don't have the file, April 2025, question 24. So index, the first argument is the array. So array is this data here without anything this way. That is the first item. Hope you have been able to select the array. We are just putting it in without the referencing. So we just put it in direct like that. So that is the array, comma. So the moment I do comma, you can see the next argument becomes the row number. The next argument becomes the row number. So instead of me writing a specific row number, I'm going to use another function called match. So I match tab. So we introduce match. Control backspace to jump back to the active cell. This is our active cell. So we've done in array, then we are looking on the row number, then we started with match. So match lookup value, I want it to look for revenue, comma, lookup array, where do you want it to look it from? To look revenue from, I want it to look revenue from up here. I want them to look for revenue from up there. So the income statement of the year. Look for revenue up there. So make sure it is an array, the whole of it like that. Then comma, 0 for an exact match. 0 for an exact match. Then you close your brackets. So this bracket that I've closed, this is the bracket for match. You see the index one is still open. Because I opened this one, I put in the array, comma, I introduced match, I've linked it in, then I've closed the bracket of match. So this is the bracket of the first match. I do comma. So the moment I do comma here after I've closed that bracket, you can see I've gone to the column number. Now the column number, I again match the years. So match lookup value. I'll be looking for 2020 without any referencing, so you're just doing them free, comma, lookup array. I'm looking them from these years here, comma, 0 for an exact match. Then we close our bracket. Control backspace to jump back to the active cell. So here I've again closed the bracket of the second match. I've then closed the bracket for the second match. So I can close now the bracket of index because I have the row number in. So if I close that bracket of index and then I hit enter, you'll see that I'm getting not applicable. So these are some of the tricks that the examiner plays around with. So you can see in terms of reference, we said they must be the same. Like for instance, you can see here this one has been written cost of goods sold. While if you come down here, it has been written COGS. So even if you use index and match and you are referring back to these COGS is not up there. So Excel cannot shorten that to COGS. So what happens is that here this one must appear exactly the same way as they appear up there. They must appear exactly. I wanted us to use an original file so that we are also able to see that one. So they must appear exactly the same as where you are looking up them from. So I'll come here, I select revenue, cost of goods sold and operating expenses. I copy them, Control C. So they must exactly appear the same. So I wouldn't use these ones, but I'll paste here, Control V. So you can see if they are appearing the same, we are able to get the value. We are able to get the value there. So they must exactly appear the same as the way you are getting them from this other side. Here now you've been told cost of goods, and then it has been written as COGS. So that one will not be found even if you try getting that. Now with this style, with this freestyle, these are called the relative reference. We've not used N4 anywhere. You cannot drag. That is the disadvantage of that. So that means that you'll have to repeat each on its own. Then that one will take you a lot of time. So we are going to repeat the same thing, but this time around we are going to do with cell with appropriate referencing style. So this is the basic. The basic just goes that way. If this one I try dragging down, you can see it will not be getting the values. So it is returning error. It's not that these ones are wrong, but if you double click, you can see even the years they have moved down because I moved down one step. Because I moved down, if you come here, they have further moved down. So that is why we are not able to get them. So we need maybe to use F4 and also mixed referencing so that we are able to just drag down, then drag to the right. So we are going to repeat the same thing again here, equal sign. Okay, April 2025, question 24. Okay, just a minute. We proceed from there with reference team. I think I have it. Okay, so we are going to proceed. So I think we're going to proceed with that. Okay, now we proceed. So we are doing it again with proper referencing. Index tab. So the array, since I want my array to be stuck at one position, I will select my array, then I press F4. So it is absolutely referred to. So that my array is absolutely referred to. So here, this is my array, then F4, then F4. For laptops, FN F4. So we are doing it this time with referencing so that you only do it once, then we drag. So because if I don't lock my array, it will be moving. I want it constant. So that is why I'm doing it F4. F4 is the same as locking. So I'm locking the array in place. Even if I move, the array will not be moving. Then comma. Yes. You just lock once, an absolute reference, $sign on each and every item there. Control backspace. The $sign in front of each and every on the array so that it is absolutely locked, so it won't move in any position. Then row number we are going now to introduce FN F4 on laptop. Okay, lock also the B13, lock the B13. Make sure you have locked everything. B13 to F17, everything has been locked, the two. Then I introduce match, lookup value. I'll be looking for this revenue here. Now on this revenue, I'm going to do a mixed reference. Since on this column A, there we have a revenue, cost of goods, and operating expenses. So I cannot lock 65. I cannot lock 65, but I will lock A so that if I drag to 2021, it still remains on A. It doesn't go to B. You check these ones up here. So a mixed reference F4 3 times to lock A, only the dollar sign on A. So this simply means that it cannot get out of this column A. So even if I drag to 2022, it will still be reflecting on A, but the row number has not been locked. So it can change from 65 to 66, then to 67. So I only lock A. I only lock A like that. Then comma, look up array, an absolute reference, F4, a full one, so that it doesn't move. It remains fixed. So F4 on the lookup array, so that it is absolutely referred to. Then comma, match type. I want an exact match, 0 for an exact match. Okay, we will repeat on that again. Then we close the brackets. That is the bracket for the match. Just a minute. Okay. April 2025, question 24. So let me restart on this one so that we go together. Equal sign, index, the array, the data you want, using a correctly referenced index and match nested function, fill in the details. So we start with index. Index the array is this data here, F4, absolute reference on that so that the array doesn't move. So that is our array, comma. So we are nesting match inside. So instead of us putting in a row number, we bring in match. So match, lookup value. I'm looking for this revenue. On this one, we do a mixed reference, whereby we lock column A, but not the row. So the reason why we are not locking the row, so that if you drag down, it moves to pick cost of sale. It moves to pick operating expenses. So we will press F4 3 times to make sure that the dollar sign is only on A. That means that column A has been locked. So the data can change the row number, but it cannot change the column to B. Comma, lookup array, where are you looking it from? I'm looking it from here. Absolute reference again, F4. Then comma, match type, exact. So 0 for exact, 0 for exact. Then I close the bracket. So at that, I'm closing the match bracket. I'm closing the match bracket. The moment I do now comma, you see down here, I've gone to column number. So even you after this comma, you must be here on the column number. The column number should be the one that is in bold. So the column number, again, I'm going to match the years. So match, lookup value becomes this 2020. Now, here again, I'll do a mixed reference whereby I only lock the row. So I lock only row 64. I won't lock the column because if I drag ahead, I want it to pick the 2021, of which 2021 is on column C, 2022 is in column D, 2023 on column E. So I cannot lock the column. But if I drag down, I don't want it to move down. I only want it to remain here on 64. So I lock the row only. I lock the row only so that it doesn't get out of row number 64 this way, the whole of it, but it can change the column to B, to C, to D, to E like that. But it cannot get out of 64 if you drag down. Then comma, lookup array. This is where are you looking it from? So I'm looking it from these years up here. Absolute reference F4. I'm looking it from the years there, F4. Make sure you are picking these years up here in the income statement. So you are working on the income statement. Lookup array, these years up here in the income statement. Then match type, 0 for an exact match. So I had to do comma first. Control backspace to jump back to the active cell. So comma, match type 0 for an exact match. Then I'll close my bracket. So that is the match bracket. Now I can close the index bracket. So index and match nested, match being nested inside index. Then I hit enter. So with the proper referencing, you only do it once. If you're able to lock properly, you only do it once. If I drag down, then I drag to the right. I drag down, then I drag to the right. Okay. Fill in the gross profit. Start with part 1. Have you filled in the part 1? Fill in appropriate details. Gross profit, net profit, then equity. You fill in those details first, so you just add them. You less them, and also the equity. You fill them in, gross profit. This one was not in. Also this one, you fill it in as an addition of the two. And you minus them. Of course, gross profit is revenue minus cost of goods sold. Net profit, gross profit minus operating expenses. Total equity, total assets minus total liabilities. Fill in those details first. Okay, for those that are well enough, now try repeating the same thing here on 3. Try repeating the same thing here on 3. Try repeating the same thing on 3. Okay, we said they must be the same as they appear on the other side. So you'll copy these ones here. You copy cost of goods, revenue, and operating expenses. Control C. You paste them here. Control V. These ones are normally sensitive. Do that. I think that is your problem there. Already seen. So the moment you can look up first. The moment you even have space, only space up here on your revenue, you cannot get the values. So the best way is just to copy from the place you are referencing from. The best way is to copy them from the place you are referencing them. Because even addition of space, you won't be able to get the values. The moment I delete that space, I'm able to get the values. Only copy the three items: revenue, cost of goods sold, and operating expenses. These ones are what are needed. We press and hold on control. We select the two, press and hold on control. Hold on control, then select operating expenses. Now that one you leave it. You press and hold on control, only control, then click on operating expense, then control C. Then go and paste them. Okay, we try that here on total assets, total liabilities, and equity. Using the correct index and match nested function. We repeat that one here. Total assets, total equity, and total liability. Then, of course, the other day we also looked at charts. Create a line graph, then a column chart. I think those ones are something that can be done. To add space, shift space, then control shift plus. You add space there, you put there a chart. Shift space, control shift plus. You also put there a chart. So we do the nested function, a correctly index and match nested function on total assets, part 3. Part 3, we retry the same thing that we've just done. Here on part 3, index and match nested function. Control shift plus. So we said the array is the data without the details. Okay, I can see that we have those ones that just came in after we've done so. So let me again repeat on this one. So if you never captured, you can capture now. Then you retry it again. April 2025, question 24. Equal sign, we are starting a fresh index tab. So index has these three arguments normally. We use the first one here. That is the array, the row number, and the column number. The array is the data without the other details. So this is our array. That is our array, F4. Then comma. So instead of us putting in a row number, we put in another function. We nest match inside. So the array F4, then match, then match. So match, look at, we want to match revenue to the revenue up there. So match so that we get the row number. So match this is the lookup value. Then we do a mixed reference whereby we lock A only. So F4 3 times. On laptops, it is Fn, F4 3 times. So you press on Fn, then you press F4 3 times. And you check, it is not just about pressing it 3 times. you check the dollar sign. The dollar sign should only be on A. You check the dollar sign. The dollar sign should only be on A. Then comma, lookup array, these ones here, F4, lookup array, those ones there, F4, absolute reference, so that the lookup array will not be moving. It is constant. Then comma, match type 0, match type 0. Then we close the match bracket so that we are back on our index function. We close the match bracket. So instead of us putting in the raw number, we have placed in that match. Then comma. So we are going to the column. By the time you do this comma, you must be here on the column number. By the time you are coming to introduce the second match, April 2025, question 24. Someone said you cannot see my screen. Really, I think we are on share screen. Or is it small? I don't know. Okay, so we match the second one. Are they small? Okay. Match, so we are on the second match. So we now go and match the year. Match, we match this 2020. F4, F4. So we lock 64 only, not B. So we only lock the row so that it can change from B to C to pick 2021, C to D to pick 2022. So if the dollar sign is here on B, it will mean that it will not be moving. So for that one, we leave the column to move, but the row is fixed. It cannot move to 65 because 65 we don't have the years. It cannot move to 66 because 66 we don't have the years. Lookup array, I'm looking it from these years up here. Absolute reference F4. You look it from the years up there. Absolute reference F4. Then comma, match type exact. So 0 for exact. Then you close our match bracket. Then we close our index bracket. Then we hit enter. So you are able to extract that value. So with that, we just drag down. Then we drag to the right. We just drag down, then we drag to the right. We are able to do them at once. So I'm going to do this second one, the line graph, and then you will continue to do the third one and also install the chart. So we'll delete this word component. So that is the structure of the chart. We delete this word component here. Then we select everything like that. We delete the word component. Then we select everything. Delete component. Then we select everything. Then we go to insert, recommended charts, align chart. You hit OK with that one. So even if you have it there, you can just add space, shift space. Then you can also increase your spaces like that. Then there we already have our line chart. So we already told that with the title, there you copy the title, avoid rewriting where possible, Control C. You copy from inside the formula bar. Then chart title, Control V. So we can do the same on part 3. It is the same thing, part 3 and 4. Part 3 and 4. So part 3, using a correctly referenced index and match nested function. Then part 4, create a column chart. Now, not a line chart, but a column, a clustered column. Before we look at pivot tables, I think C. Okay, then the other one was on trend analysis that we looked the other day. So I think we are there. So we try to do the same thing for part 3 and part 4. So the first one, index and match. We said what you're looking for must look exactly the same as where you are looking them from. So the better way is you copy from where you are looking from. These ones here, you copy from here first. So total assets, you press and hold on control, total liabilities and total equity, control C. Then you come here, control V. The casing doesn't matter, provided it is appearing the same way, there is no problem. Whether it is in bold or not bold, that one doesn't matter, provided it is appearing the same way as where you are looking them from. So we get those ones with index and match. Then we create a clustered column for the three. I think some of us have been able to get that. Yes, then clustered column. Array data. Match. Look up value of the table. Comma. So for two times so that three times that is yes for three times. Then from look up the rate, look it from the inbound statement of this. So is the next problem then now proceed to the income statement to still the income. That's what revenue goes to profit. No, the speech only is important. Doing zero, so it's exactly the match you drop the value, the efficiency a year, up the very that's it. You almost don't be able to if for the links don't fail. Then it's going to be clear. So there comes Okay, let me see about that. That's only the second row. Take that. For the ones that are on first one, I'm going to listen. Last part. Okay, I think for the first one, let me start again on that. So for those that have not been able to do the first one, again I'll restart here. So I'll go slow so that we go together. So equal sign here. So make sure you are together here. If you've not gotten that, equal sign, index, tab. So index has only 3 arguments. This is what we are saying. We have the array, the row number, and the column number. So instead of putting in a column number, we will do match. And here we will also do match so that we match the rows and the column. So the array is this data only without the years and the details. F4. Are you able to see the screen there? Are you able to see the screen? So maybe you are proceeding. So you have selected our array. So that is our array without the other details, only the array there. Then comma. So now after I do comma, you can see the next argument that I need is the row number. So your row number must be the one in bold. So my row number, I'll introduce match. So match lookup value. I'm looking for revenue. Then we said we have 3 types of referencing: absolute, mixed, and relative. So without any doing there, without F4, it is on absolute. It is on relative. It can move. On relative meaning that it moves when you move the formula. Even if you drag, it moves. Now, if I press F4, you check the dollar signs. The dollar signs, it is before A and also before 65. Then that will mean that the row number column number A has been locked, and also row number 65 has been locked. Now, I will not like to lock 65, that is to lock 65, because if you come to 66, we have cost of goods sold. If you come to 67, we have operating expenses. So I will want to remove the dollar sign on 66 so that the dollar sign is only on A. So meaning it cannot change from A to B, so that it will just remain here, the lookup value, but it can change to 66. So it can be A66, it can be A67. So I will not have the dollar sign on the row so that the row is free to move. But the column, I lock it in place so that it doesn't move to B, so that this will only be our lookup value. So I'll continue here, comma. So you make sure you come on this other side. Lookup array. This is where are you looking this revenue from? I'm looking this revenue from up here, from the income statement. This way. I'm looking it from there. Absolute reference F4 to lock everything in place. F4 to lock everything in place. Then we proceed to match type. I just want the exact match. So 0 for the exact match. Then I'll close my brackets. So I've seen some people here, they're going directly to introduce another match. So you see, the moment before I close the bracket, I'm on match. But the moment I close this bracket, I come back to index, isn't it? I come back to index. Now, that is my row number. This is my second argument on the index function. So I want to put in the column number. I have to do a comma first, so that the argument that is being needed is the column number. So the column number becomes bold. So by the time you are starting the second match, your column number is the one that is bold. So match lookup value. I'm now looking for this here, F4. Now, since if I move one step forward, you'll see I'll have moved from B to C. Now I cannot lock B because I don't want to stay on 2020 only. But if I drag down, we only have the years on row number 64. So that is the same as having it that way. So 64 is locked, but B is free to move so that you're able to select on C. You're also able to select on D and also on E, like that. Then comma, look up array. Where are you looking it from? I'm looking it from these ears up here. Absolute reference F4. Absolute reference F4. Then comma, match type 0. Exact match. Then I close the match bracket. So this is the second match bracket. You can see I'm back on index. Now because I've had in the 3 arguments, I close the index bracket also. I close the index bracket also. I drag this. We've said this must appear the same way on the other side. If you add space, you're not able to get the value. And that is only space. If you only add space, you're not able to get the values. So the best way is that just copy from where you are referencing from. You copy from this other side. We said to copy multiple and adjacent cells, you press and hold on Control. So you copy them from where you are searching them from, then you paste them so that they are just the same way as they appear on the other side. So that they are just the same way as they appear on the other side. So hope we have been able to do the second one. The second one, I don't intend to do it. So I think I'll be going to part C. I'll be going to part C. So make sure you have at least done the second one. I'm going to part C. You're not using F4. Use the index, the pattern, about index. Therefore, it is the functions, not so easy. So therefore, details. Array is considered one capital. Smart shiny. So that's it. So, hope you have been able to do the second one. Have you been able to? Okay, I can see people have been able to do the second one. So I'll be doing it real quick. Then we go to the pivot table. So index array, the statement of financial position, F4, comma, match, lookup value, total assets, you only lock A, lookup array, I'm looking it from here, F4, 0 for an exact match, then the second match again, match, lookup value, 2020 the year, you only lock the row, lookup array, the years, are they these ones here? Let me pick this one here. These years here, F4, comma, 0 for an exact match. Then we close the two brackets. We use the 1,000 separator. So equity is not being gotten. So let me see how equity had been written this on the other side. Control C, Control V, still not yet. Let me look at my array. Okay, you can see my array, I never picked that equity. So that is 28, F28. Okay, let me edit from here, F28. So I had picked an incomplete array. So I had not picked the 28. That is why it was not getting the revenue. Then the next item was create a clustered column. We will delete this word component. We select the data, insert, recommended charts, clustered column, a column, a clustered column like that. So per year. So because you have already, that is the reason why we were deleting the word component so that we also pick the years directly. So that we also pick the years directly. So I've also done with equity, even though the equity was not required. So chart title, very important. If you don't have in the chart title, you lose the marks there. Total assets and liabilities. So you better have in the chart title. You can ignore the rest, like the axis titles or so. You can go ahead and have this plus icon. So we are proceeding. On this plus icon, you are able to include other items on the chart. Maybe you wanted the axis titles, but not that really relevant. You can have here years. You can have here, was it in shillings or what? Shillings, something like that. But those are not as important as the chart title. This is the legend. The legend is the key. So you do not remove it. Don't uncheck the legend. Grid lines are these lines that are passing this way. You can also have in data labels or a data table, just having a data of that, or you have in a trend line. So you can choose maybe according to how the chart has been required. But what is very important is the chart title, having the chart title and also the axis, so that you must have in the axis and the chart title. The rest not that really important. So I think that was just that on index and match. We looked at that when we were looking at Excel functions. So this is just a reminder on the same. Then we are going to do some pivots before we take a very small break. Then we come back and we proceed. So in this sheet, so not in a new worksheet, in this sheet, create a pivot table of the payments data to summarize payments made over the years, showing the year and the months breakdown. Shift space to select the entire row. Shift space to select the entire row. Shift space to select the entire row. Control Shift plus to add in the rows. So you can add in several of them. We will delete them later. So like this one, Shift space, Control minus. You can delete them later. Add in that are enough to take care of the pivot table. Using payment data. Up here, we have the payments data. We have the payments data. So to just make it look nice, I'll take this word shillings out, then control minus, so that I just start from there. So that your titles, so we said for a pivot table, the titles are always at the top. For a pivot table, the title must be on the top. Control minus to delete that. So the entire row. So it was like this. Sorry, Control Z. It was here. So you control minus that one. The minus, the one that is here near backspace, not the under the num keys on this other side of the letters. So we will select our data. We select our data, insert, pivot tables. Insert pivot tables. We select our data, then we go to insert, then we go pivot tables. So the pivot table dialog box is there. Choose the data you want to analyze. We have already selected the data we want to analyze. So we go where, choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. Choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. Existing worksheet, we are told in this sheet. Then choose location, you click inside your location so that it is blinking like that. You click inside location. Then you click this one here to come out. Then you can move. Then somewhere you want it, you click there. Insert pivot tables. Insert pivot table, the first item on insert. Then you click OK. Choose the location, existing worksheet, not new worksheet. In this sheet, the existing worksheet, then you come out. Press of course button here. Then OK. In the existing worksheet, not new worksheet. So you go back. You select the data, insert, pivot table, existing worksheet. You choose a location, not a new worksheet here. You can come out or you can just leave it like that. This is to come out so that you select the space and then you go back, you click OK. Or you can even just move when it is just like that. Then you select where you want, you click OK. Payment date to rows, amount to values. Payment dates to rows, amount to values. We are going to remove quarters, so uncheck quarters. Here uncheck quarters. Then you click on this plus and check quarters. So we only wanted the showing the years and the months. Showing the years and the months like that. Alt HK, the 1000 separator shortcut. Okay, you can delete the excess columns, rows, shift space, control minus. You click on this plus icon to bring out the years, showing the year and the month's breakdown. So you click on these plus icons that are here to show that. If yours is not, you right click here on the date, then you click on group, then you group by months and years, then okay. Okay, here it must, okay, let me just talk about the pivot table in a simple manner. Let me delete that so that again I restart. So payment data. So make sure that you know the examiner has space in here. So just remove that space so that you just start from. Sorry, I think that was too wide. Let me. So that when you are selecting our pivot table, a pivot table must have the titles at the top row. On the top, that one is still on a new worksheet. Okay, on the top row. So make sure that this top row has your details. Then here, you don't have this space in. So you can just delete that. You select the entire column, the entire row, then control minus. So that you just start directly like this. Insert, then pivot table. You change from new worksheet to existing because it is said in this worksheet. So if you place it in a new worksheet, you not get the marks in this sheet. So if you place it on a new worksheet, payment date, you bring them to rows. Amount, you bring them to values. You can see this drop down that is looking down here, this one here. You can click on it. Then you come to value field settings. You can click on that one. Then you click on down here. Then you click here, then you come here to value field settings. You can get the sum, the count, the average. So this time you want the total payments. So the sum. I can see others got the count. It started at default with count. So here you can go in and change that to sum. Value field settings, then to sum. You change that to sum. Value field settings. You change that to sum. So if it is count, it will only count how many times you sold. But now we want the sum, the total payment. So the sum. Then you can also click here on quarters. Then you do remove field. Because you never wanted the quarters, it was only the years and months. It was only years and months. So you're having something like that. We are having something like that. Meanwhile, we are going to take a break at that point. But before we take a break, shift space. This one we did it in our last class. Calculate the percentage change of each component of the income statement year over year. trend analysis. So calculate the trend analysis of income statement components, Control C, Control V. Okay, I'll also help you put in the years so that you don't repeat on them. So the years were here, Control C, then here, Control V. I hope that one can be done as we take a break. Alt HBA for all round borders. So that is a trend analysis, percentage change, year over year. I think we talked about that in our other class. When we come back, we'll be looking at part E. So we take a very small break. Then we fill in the trend analysis. Remember, trend analysis, you cannot get the first year. You only start from 2021. So we do that one. Then when we come back, we start on part E. We start on part E. So a very small break.
As only going to divide by this, but as long as you get
I think we are able to guess the So we continue. So I think mwambie copy. I think I'm a copy. So of course, trend analysis year on year. Just take the items directly. 2021. So you open your brackets first. 2021 minus 2020. You close that bracket, divide by 2020. Then you come here, you click on percentage to 2 decimal places. So maybe I'll increase the size to 14. So with that one, we always don't have any locking. So just that way, then we drag down. Percentage change. Percentage change. So 2021 minus 2020. That one in bracket. Then divide by 2020, the previous value. Year 1, year 2 minus year 1, divide by year 1, so that we get their growth rates or their changes. Then to 2 decimal places, we are getting them like that. So if it is negative, it was a reduction, while a positive one was an increase. So that one, I think we had covered that in our other class. Then we go to E. So part E, perform a three-way order matching between the purchases orders, invoices, and payment data as below. So when we get to audit, we will look at three-way order matching as a topic, but here you have been told as below. So three-way order matching can stand alone, whereby we can match the purchases order to the invoices, then to the payment data as a standalone without these other questions. We have what we call just three-way order matching. But here you have been told as below, so you use these ones. So the first one, using a relevant function for each purchase order, match the corresponding invoice. So of course, this takes us back to functions. So the function there will be for each purchase order. So you go to your purchases order. Maybe I'll delete the column, control minus. Then I pick all the purchases order. So purchases order data, control C. I pick all of them. Okay, I could have created space first, control V, shift space, then control shift plus. So I think you just create more of them, then now you'll delete later. You delete later, so we go and copy the purchases orders ID, control X, then here, control V. So for each purchase order, so you have the purchase orders, because if you purchase, for each one, it will be given a, you can delete that one, is not needed. So this one is purchase order ID. So P dot order, purchase order ID. For each purchase order ID, match the corresponding invoice. So of course, you are going to match the corresponding invoice ID. So match the corresponding invoice. So if you come here to invoice data, for it, okay, the function that you are going to use will be VLOOKUP. I think that one you have already come across it. So for each one, match the corresponding invoice. So we said VLOOKUP, it searches for a value in the leftmost column of a table and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. So we are matching to POID. Now our purchase ID is not the leftmost. The invoice is the leftmost here. So we will copy this invoice, Control C. We take it on this other side, Control V, so that our table array will start from here, and then we will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason why is that VLOOKUP starts from the leftmost. So what you are searching must be on the leftmost of your table array. Must be on the leftmost. So here, equal sign VLOOKUP, equal sign VLOOKUP, lookup value. I'm searching for this purchase order ID number 1. I'm searching for purchase order ID number 1. VLOOKUP, I'm searching for purchase ID number 1, comma, table array. So this table array is what made us to copy the invoices to the other side. Because how VLOOKUP search, what you are looking for must be on the leftmost column of the table. So you cannot select from invoice, but we select from there. So that this is our leftmost. What you are searching for, what you search for must be on the leftmost side of your table. So you cannot select from here and say you are searching for purchase order ID. So the purchase order ID must be on the leftmost side of the table. F4, absolute reference, because we intend to drag down so that we don't repeat on that again. So F4, absolute reference. Column index number, you come to count. Because we needed the invoice ID, we have placed them on this other side. You count from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. Then comma, 0 for an exact match. You close your brackets. 0 for an exact match. Then you close your brackets. So this one is invoice ID. You can copy the format with the format painter. So that is the invoice ID. You drag down. So number 5 is not there for audit purposes. Purchase order number 5, we don't have its invoice. Purchase order number 5, we don't have the invoice. Using a relevant function, the relevant function is VLOOKUP. For each purchase order, match the corresponding invoice. I'll repeat again on that one. Equal sign, VLOOKUP, lookup value, we are matching the purchase order ID, comma, table array. So we said VLOOKUP searches for a value in the leftmost column of a table. So what you are searching for must be in the leftmost of your table array. Since I'm searching for purchase order ID, then here this purchase order ID must be on the leftmost. Or that one must, I cannot now pick invoice ID as on my leftmost. I now pick my table from here so that this purchase order ID is on the leftmost. Then F4, absolute reference, because it is not a table, it is just an array. Since I just want to drag down, I don't want to repeat each on its own, I lock the table array so that the table array will be fixed. It will not be moving even if I move down. because if you don't lock it, if you move down, your table array will also be moving with you. So you lock it fully there in place, then comma, column index number. So this is how VLOOKUP works. VLOOKUP searches for a value in the leftmost column of a table and returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. So if we specify that we want column 5, it will search for a value in the leftmost column and return a value in the same row from a column we specify. So if we specified 4, it could return this one for 1. So we specify 5. So it will search for that purchase order ID and then look for the invoice ID because we have specified 5. So we specify 5. So it will look for like purchase order number 2. Then it will return a value in the same row from the column you specify. So if we specify 5, you count from itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then comma 0 for an exact match. Then we close our brackets. So for order number 1, that is the invoice ID. Now for audit purposes, because this question was under audit, we are able to see that order number 5 control minus to delete the rows. Order number 5 is not having an invoice. An invoice was not generated for purchase order 5. For each invoice, the second one, for each invoice, check whether there is payment made based on the invoice ID. So if you wanted to add space below the word, this one, number 2, you come here to number 3, then shift space to select the entire row, then control shift plus. So that number 2, you leave it at the top. You don't select number 2 itself. So you can add several of them so that they are enough. You add several of them so that they are enough. So based on the invoice, so you are going to bring the invoice IDs, all of them first, based on the invoice. So invoice ID from invoice data, invoice ID from invoice data, control C to copy. Then here, control V to paste based on invoice ID. Check whether there is payment made. So here, payment made. This brush is called the format painter. You can paint the format there also. This one here, the format painter. You first click, you copy the format. Then, for example, if I could have clicked here, it automatically copies the format. This one was empty. So you click first where you have the format you want to copy. Then you click there. It automatically copies the format. If you just want to format paint. So the format painter. So now we will be looking in the payments data. Now, what did we say we do if we come to amounts? If we are dealing with amounts, we don't use VLOOKUP. We use some if. VLOOKUP only picks one value. Let me repeat here on VLOOKUP with a simple example. I have like that. Then I have 2, 3, and then I have 4. A simple one. Now I want to get A equal sign VLOOKUP, lookup value A, table array this one, column index number 1, 2. exact. I close the bracket, I hit enter. So you'll see that it is ignoring the second one. It only picks the first one that appears. It only picks the first one that appears. But if we do the same thing with some if range where your criteria is found. So this becomes my range. Criteria is A, comma, then some range is this one. If you close your brackets and you hit enter, you see that one it will get 6. So for audit purposes, for amounts in most cases, we cannot use VLOOKUP because VLOOKUP will ignore the second one. So only the one that it will get, it comes out, then it picks that. Now, what if an invoice had been paid twice? If you use VLOOKUP, you'll not be able to get that. So we use SUMIF for amounts. For amounts, we use SUMIF. So equal sign, SUMIF, equal sign, SUMIF, range, invoice IDs on payment data. Invoice IDs on payment data. So here, where is our payment data? You pick all these invoices IDs. Invoice IDs on payment data. F4, if you don't want to repeat doing for each invoice ID. F4, comma, criteria, this first invoice. This first invoice, comma, sum range, the payment amounts, absolute reference also. This one's here on payments data. Remember, we are looking for the payment, so you must be on payments data. F4, absolute reference. F4, absolute reference. Then we close our brackets and we hit enter. I'll also copy the format again with the format painter. Then I use the 1000 separator. So again, for audit purposes, we are not able to see the payment of invoice 4, or invoice number 4 has not been paid for. Invoice number 4 has not been paid for. Invoice number 4 has not been paid for. So you must be getting the same values as me. If you are not getting the same values as me, then you got an error somewhere. You cross-check that. You check the referencing style. If I have used F4, you must make sure you also have used F4. Because if you don't use F4, let me just try and give out that one again. So F4 is much important. Assuming I never used F4, sum if the range, I just came and I picked this as my range. Then I did comma, control backspace. This as my criteria. Then this as my sum range. Then I close my bracket. I hit enter. If you drag down, of course, in that case, it was possible to get them. But now, if you double click like here in the last one, and then you go back up here, you can see because you never locked your range and your sum range, these ones have moved down the way until that point. So even if you look at 2, it is bringing 260. If you double click, it moved down one space. So you can see, even I never knew that 2 was paid twice. You can see 2 had been paid twice. So that is why VLOOKUP is not wanted there, because you'll not be able to extract that. So normally just I prefer we use the absolute reference on these two, so that they will not be moving. They are constant like that. Then you drag down. Then invoiced amount. So I'm going to part 3. So here we'll add the invoiced amount. So highlight any discrepancies, such as missing invoice. So first here we have purchase order 5 is a missing invoice. So you just highlight them. So depending with how you are going to highlight them, I don't know. Then unmatched payments like this one. Then over stroke under payments. So for that one, we must get the invoiced amount, the amount that was invoiced. That one you can even copy directly from the invoice data. Why? Because our invoice ID here, they do match. We copied them from invoice data. So from invoice data, you can see they are just this way. So you can copy the amounts so that we get the invoiced amount. This was the invoiced amount, Control C. So you are getting the invoiced amount so that you are able to identify whether it was an over stroke under payment. You are getting the invoiced amount so that you are able to identify whether it was an over stroke under payment. So you can see, that is why I say in most cases the exam is time consuming, because this is only one question and we have 3 of them. So, and it is supposed to be done in maybe 3 hours. So you have to come up with mechanisms to save on time. So, okay, I know some are using laptops. So if you are working on Excel 2016 and above, you have ifs with an S. How many of us have ifs with an S? So I think this is 2016 and below, there is no ifs. I think the school computers now have ifs, because all of them are below. Ifs, ifs, ifs. Yeah. So you have the ones that are having ifs, and you have the ones that a school computer is not having the ifs. You have ifs with an S here. So you have ifs, you still have some ifs. You have ifs. Okay. Well, we're still on some. Okay, I go back to study. So for those that are having ifs, the better. Okay, let me repeat on some ifs before. So for those ones that are having ifs, I don't know how I'm going. Let me see how I'll be doing that. Here, let me delete this one. Some people are still here. I thought some if we did it even in the last Saturday class. Range, where your criteria is found. So the invoice ID on payments. So you go to payment data, you pick all the invoice IDs there. F4, comma, criteria, this invoice ID here, then comma, sum range, the payment amounts on payment data, payments amount on payment data, then F4. Then you close your brackets, you hit enter. Then you drag down. So, and this one you just copy them directly. So it must be looking like that. So, for those ones that have ifs, you do not introduce if you are going to introduce if, you don't introduce, you just go straight forward to a logic test. But for those ones that do not have ifs, we will go together while we introduce. So equal sign, if, those ones that are having ifs, you write ifs. Because you have multiple criteria. Those ones that are having ifs, you write ifs. Those ones that are having ifs, you write ifs. So if logic test, the first argument, what are you testing? Is the payment amount less than the invoiced amount? Is the payment amount less than the invoiced amount? Comma, value if true. That one is underpayment, isn't it? So open quotation marks, under. So I just write under instead of writing underpayment. Of course, we have to identify whether it was an under or an over. So we said, if you are going to put a text inside a function, you must have it in quotation marks. If you are going to have a text inside a function, you must have it in quotation marks. Okay, we are proceeding on if. Yes? Yes, no problem. If you're having ifs, I'll tell you where not to change, not to write. So, there we okay, I'll proceed. So from from here, we'll do another comma. So if you have ifs, you don't introduce another if. But for us that don't have the ifs, we'll introduce another if here. So if you're having ifs, you go straight forward to logic test 2, isn't it? That is what is there. Is there anybody that is doing this that has ifs? Because all people that were having ifs, I don't think they are doing what we are doing. Okay, make sure it goes in as a function. With the opening brackets like that. Okay. Okay. If that amount, again, now for the ones that were having ifs, you go straight forward to logic test 2. So if this amount here equal to this amount, comma, full payment. So full, you delete that one, delete the comma, then logic test 2, comma first, then put in logic test 2. If this payment made equals to invoiced amount, full, then comma. For us that are having only if, so we have many ifs together. So we are again create another if. If this payment here is greater than the invoiced amount, comma, overpayment, over, then we close, sorry, over, just have it over as there first, then comma, double quotation marks to mean nothing. Value if false, write nothing, double quotation marks. If you want to put a text inside, we say you put it in quotation. So if you want to write nothing, double quotation marks, it will mean nothing. Then we close our brackets, all of them, 3, until the last one is black. Then enter. We are having under over full payment. Under invoice 4 was not paid for. Okay, delete the second one. Where's the second logic? Delete over the second over there. Until there. Delete until there. Delete everything. Delete even the quotations and the rest. We have set logic test 3 if that sale is greater than the invoiced amount. If the payment made is greater than the invoiced amount. Greater than the invoiced amount, comma, quotation marks opening, over. Then you close your brackets. Then close just once because it is ifs, then enter. Okay, for those that are having ifs, you do not introduce these other ifs. So the moment you write the logic test, value if true, you go to the second logic test. Value if true, you go to the third logic test. Value if true, then you close your brackets at that point. So I think we are winding up, and that is, you can now, part 3, I think, can be created. Create a column and give explanation for each discrepancy. So highlight, you have unmatched payments, overstroke, underpayments. So in this data, at least everything was to be highlighted because this one was an underpayment. This one here was an overpayment. Then this one here was an underpayment. This one was a missing. Was it a missing unmatched payments? Then here we had the missing invoice. I think those ones are what was required at that. I don't see any other item because the others you can put them. Provide a column and give explanations for each. So a column is just like a table. Missing invoice. So I'll not be writing this. Missing invoice. That was purchase order 5. You copy that one. I don't know the explanation you put across, but that one you can try. So of course that is a missing order, missing invoice, purchase order 5, unmatched payments, invoice number 4, unmatched payments. Invoice 4. Then overpayment. So you wonder why it was overpaid. Invoice one, invoice two. Then under payments, so under payment will become invoice five and invoice one. Those are the discrepancies we are getting. Alt HHN to delete the colors. I think that is where we were supposed to get to. Until that was the last one. For each discrepancy. So if those ones are having if, that is exact 2019 and above. So I think we will stop there unless there is someone who needs to be himself. When we look at focus, it has that with the change. Yes. So the same sheets are passing around, make sure you send them. Just click on them as a labels. How much does reduce the revenues? So for 3 things. Look up array on the other side. The revenues up there. Net profits. F1. Then comma 0. Close to comma match. Look up value here 2020. Look up array the years up there. 3 and 4. The 4 difference cannot be the wrong number. Comma. The years up there. The years up there. Right. Arrow. F4. Comma. 0. Close the two brackets of the second match and the bracket of index. Close also the bracket of index. Yes, close again. Then enter. So go and make sure the same as the other side.
Yes, but we are adding other layers going right now. We are using this one going to copy the revenue of the is again this year. It's not good the same. It's not good for the looking for. It must look the same video. So copy the one control C. Then press it down there where we have our revenue. Control C, the copy. So it must look exactly the same. So we don't try it there. Just copy it. Then there it says control V.
Yes.
See, this was the first row. Then it hung, or what happened? Delete any blank columns or columns without a header within the data bounds example column C. So column C here, you are to do what? To unmerge the word transaction first before you delete that. Control minus. These two. So you unmerge first, then you delete. So you make sure that you are going for a column like that, EF. So you unmerge the two first. Control X, Control V. Okay, I don't know how it hung, but I think we look at that one. Okay, it came to that I also